All right, let's see if I can kind of change the mood now, guys. Found a couple of articles that I wanted to go over tonight in our climate news section. And it never amazes me. The state of New York has already considered a ban on hot dogs. Now, Germany is taking it a step further. As we see here at What's Up With That, I was reading this, and they want to tax meat at 19%. The idea is that if it's too expensive to buy, then it would save animals. It would, livestock welfare would go up. And apparently these folks think that less farmland, they're saying a third of the farmland would be used compared to what it would be if we fully didn't tax the meat. That's what the goal is here. They don't want basically that animals being raised, livestock, is causing CO2 as well. They're flagellants, of course. Oh boy. I guess you could make the argument too that if you have less pigs and cattle to raise, that you don't have to worry about all that feed that you have to give them, stuff like that. Because right now we're already hearing reports that cows are now being fed stale donuts instead of corn feed in some farms. Desperate times, guys. Call for new solutions. Most of the people think that Germans is wealthy. There is a lot of poverty in Germany, actually. According to the DW article in 2018, around 20% of Germans are struggling to pay their bills and heat their homes. The new meat tax, if passed, will simply add to their already intolerable burden. We talked about Germany not too long ago, about the green collapse here. Their energy prices are through the roof, so to speak. So if you can't afford to heat your home or keep the lights on, and you can't afford to eat meat, I mean, Germany is literally forcing you to take part in growing your own garden. Because you're going to need a lot of veggies to make up for supposedly the meat that you're used to eating. You know, I don't get this. I don't understand why there's actual people out there who have a scientific opinion believe that taxing meat will help fight climate change. It's absolutely asinine, completely asinine. So you're asking yourself, well, if we don't eat meat, what do we do next? Yeah, that's right. Eat insects. Meat patch to stop cravings. New UN report takes aim at eating meat. UN seeks expansion of climate agenda to regulate what you eat. So over here at Climate Depot, Mark Morano has a good point. That's the best. Mari, do you see this? Do you see the cow?
I do.
Okay, I'll take a flyer here. Climate activists cheered the UN report. We need a radical transformation, not incremental shifts, towards a global land of use and food system that serves our climate needs. The Climate Depot's Mark Morano notes, get ready, UN coming after your burgers and steaks to save the planet. This is yet another report from the UN IPCC intended to empower the UN bureaucrats to essentially plan our lives for no impact on the climate. Now, amazingly, in the 1970s, experts blamed global cooling for a coming food crisis. And here is a link, flashback 1974. And go to the full actual article here. This is what guys, you say what you want about where we pull our information from. When I show papers about the climate, proof about CO2 and everything, and I show like a no tricks zone or a realclimatescience.com, and the first thing I get is, well, that's from a climate blog. That don't count. But yet they provide the actual links, the actual proof. Well, this one wants me to start a free trial, but You get the point, guys. Everything's here for you to look at for yourself. Each time you click on a link, there's another link to verify what the link that you just clicked on for the link. The proof is everywhere on these so-called climate change blogs. The predictable solution, taxes, regulations, and more. We just talked about that in Germany. Global warming, eating insects could help tackle climate change. Let's take a look at this. Oh boy. Replacing half of meat eaten worldwide with crickets and mealworms would cut farmland use by a third, substantially reducing emissions of greenhouse gases, researchers say. While consumers reluctant to eat insects may limit their consumption, even a small increase would bring benefits, the team says. This could potentially be achieved by using insects as ingredients for prepackaged foods. Some of this stuff we eat now, I wouldn't be surprised if insects were used to make it. Researchers say that replacing meat with crickets and mealworms could help tackle climate change. Yeah, sure. Using data collected primarily by the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, scientists compared the environmental impacts of conventional meat production with those of alternative sources of food. It is the first study to do so. They said it would cut farmland use and reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. Researchers at the University of Edinburgh and Scotland's Royal College considered a scenario in which half of the current mix of animal products is replaced by insects, lab-grown meat, and imitation meat. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say this. And Mari, you know I'm telling the truth when I say this. I will eat mushrooms before I eat insects. And that is a promise. I will saute those babies in butter and garlic, whatever I need, but I will eat the hell out of some mushrooms the day they start replacing meat with insects and crickets. I know there's some of you survivalists out there who say it's a rich source in protein, and I'm not doubting that, but I'm just telling you right now, if that's how they want to play around with the meat situation, I think more and more people are going to start gardens, which in a way, this is kind of beneficial, getting people motivated to grow their own food instead of, some waxworms or whatever. I mean, hey, if you're hungry, you're going to do it. And this goes back to a program I watched on the Weather Channel. This guy's actually kind of cool. I watch his shows from time to time where he's a survivalist, and he shows us tricks on how to start fires and how to build shelters and what to do if you injure yourself, how to build a splint, all this good stuff. Really cool guy. But one episode, he fried up some crickets, some grasshoppers, or no, it was crickets. And he had some salt and stuff like that to kind of throw in the pan and butter them up a little bit. And the guy was eating it. And, I don't care if you're a paid actor or not. Your face will make the natural reaction. No matter if it's, if it's bad, your face will say it's bad. You can't hide it. And this guy actually bit into the cricket, was chewing on it. His face was straight, and he said it was kind of nutty, a nutty texture to it. I mean, I get it. If you're hungry and watching shows like that, and where this guy's actually showing us how to cook them up, I mean, you're gonna try it, right? I guess if I absolutely have to, but I'm pretty confident that that mushroom thing is probably going to be a better thing for me anyway. And I'm sure Rachel and Carlton will agree with me as that. But there's probably better nutrients in mushrooms than there is insects. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Birds eat them, so why can't people eat them, right? Okay. From gross to grosser. No, I'm not talking about Michael. No. Maybe I should give Michael Moore a little break here. Let's go to the actual article here. So what it looks like, and I haven't seen the documentary, but from what I'm reading from this, it appears that Michael Moore has made a documentary. And again, it didn't sound like that his belief in man-made climate change was part of this flick, but if I'm not mistaken, it appears that Michael Moore is bringing to light that this green energy promise is not what it seems to be. And that's interesting to see. I mean, this guy has come out with some extreme films. Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11. And, you know, they put here in quotes, both know that the film is going to be a tough pill to swallow, talking about Michael Moore and Gibbs. It was a difficult eye-opener for them as well. It says here, we all want to feel good about something like the electric car, but in the back of your head somewhere, you've got to think, yeah, but where is the electricity coming from? And it's like, I don't want to think about that. I'm glad we have electric cars. This is quotes from Michael Moore. He also says, I've passed by windmill farms and oh, it's so beautiful to see them going, and don't tell me we've gone too far now and it isn't going to save us. Well, my feeling has just hit me with everything. I'm like, let's just deal with it now all at once. He sounds like a Valley girl. I don't understand what's going on here at this point. But he was talking about how they were worried about when they did the screening of this in Traverse City, Michigan, which is in the UP, which is in a colder climate too, by the way, which also they could probably vouch that solar and wind is not working. But that's what this film is supposed to be about. That maybe solar and wind aren't really the solutions that we were hoping for. And I think, and I'd have to see this flick, but from what I can tell from this write-up, that Michael Moore, and it even says down here at the bottom, where is it at? I thought it was important that they noted this. They wanted people to make sure. He makes a comment and says, you know, just to be on record here, the people making this film, we're not climate. Okay, here it is. It's up to people who actually share the same values to sometimes call each other out and bring out uncomfortable truths. Now, this is where they're bringing out the uncomfortable truth that solar and wind is not working, Gibbs said. And then he goes on by saying, this is not a film by climate change deniers. This is a film by people who really care about the environment. No, what this is the beginning of the backpedal from the AGW, and they're going to get a couple of radical left-wing people like Michael Moore involved because he's done a good job at manipulating the masses in the past. So now they're going to say they realize that this has got to create some huge turmoil right now for the Democratic Party. This is dated August 8th. Okay, again, Michael Moore is not a conservative, Republican, anything like that. He, if anything, you would have to put him in the middle or the left, the far left sometimes. So if you're a Democratic presidential campaign tonight and you're hearing about this report where you have one of America's top conspiracy theorist, Michael Moore, talking about how, hey, wait a minute, maybe green energy isn't as good as we thought it was going to be for us. Oh, we care about the people now. They're getting screwed. Oh, no. This is the beginning of the backpedal. That they're starting to realize there's no way that they're going to be able to avoid the questions that are going to come to them in a year, 2, 3 years from now about cooling, about crop loss, about food crises, about food shortages, because their prediction was the opposite. Global warming means, you know, CO2 is higher than it has been in a long time. All right, and it keeps climbing. And I want to keep noting that the temperatures keep falling. Anybody wants a source for that, go to royspencer.com and look at his temperature readings that he puts out on the 1st of every month. You can clearly see in that graph, we have a cooling trend since 2016. Next month is going to also be the month of reckoning when it comes to that new reading, when we get August's numbers. Will it drop even more? I had to guess, yeah. Could stay where it's at too. Maybe it goes up maybe 0.02. We'll talk more about that as well when we get into the weather part of our program tonight. But guys, we'll leave the links in the description, or actually on the website here at thegrandsolarminimum.com. Again, now we're starting to see some peculiar behavior within this green policy here. And of all people, and this is bad timing for Democrats. This documentary, basically, like it says here, tackles false promises of green energy. So believe it or not, I have to read this headline in this article to say that Michael Moore is actually nitpicking solar and wind and the promises that are being made about green energy that are not being kept. Very strange move. But like I said, this is happening strategically for a reason. The backpedal begins. And it starts right here. No, they don't want to admit that they're climate change. They still think man has everything to do with it, and they can, but they're also realizing in a hurry that green energy is not going to save us. You know, and even Michael in a third person comment saying, "Oh, don't tell me that these windmills are bad for us and blah blah blah." No, they are. They are. Quickly wanted to point out another article of what's up with that, talking about how much energy storage costs must fall to reach renewable energy's full potential. Again. So I know AOC is really big about criticizing people on our side of this argument or theory that it's going to cost too much to build, to maintenance, to harvest, everything. And we all know that the storage costs are already through the roof. So we talked about what costs or what things have to happen for things to be efficient and for Americans or people all over the world to benefit from renewable energy. But the reason why I'm pointing this article out to people is that for all of those folks out there who want to glorify green energy, solar and wind, all those folks that want to glorify it as if it's going to save us because they think man makes a difference in the climate, point to this article. And then also find the article on What's Up With That that talks about how the states that have solar panels and wind farms incorporated with their grids also have anywhere from 17 to 41% increase in their electricity bills. There's a small town in Texas where some folks were paying $1,000 a month for electricity. I don't care if it was because of the extreme heat and they had to run the AC on every day. I've seen high electricity bills before because of that, and it didn't get anywhere near $1,000. A few $100, $300-400, definitely, but not no $1,100, $1,086, whatever the number I saw. But just another piece of proof. And again, they're citing an article, a study that was published in the journal. MIT researchers answer this question in this journal. So it's not just about what it's going to cost to get it going, but what it's going to cost to keep it going. And how are we going to be able to afford that? If we're going to get a meat tax, and now we're going to get a green tax, and then we're going to get a penalty for using coal or natural gas. So those are going to be taxed too. And then next, guys, listen, next is your gas prices. Thank God I own a hybrid. And not because I'm worried about global warming. I got the hybrid because I drive a lot for my job. I travel all over. Saves me lots of money. I probably put gas in my car once every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on where I have to go. If I'm local, I have 3 weeks easily. And thank God, because I'm not going to be able to afford a full tank every week. If they're increasing taxes on meat, it ain't long now before we see the increase in taxing on gasoline once again, and prices will go through the roof. Yeah, oil's cheap right now. Prices are hovering around $2.69 here in upstate. That's good. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Not for the heart of summer. This is where people are on the road the most. You would expect them to really stick it to you and try to push the gas prices as far as possible. I remember Memorial Day weekend, it appeared we were going to pierce the $2.90 mark, but we kind of got as high as like 285, and then it went back down to the average price a couple weeks later. So when it's coming, we don't know, but the more of these green policies that continue to get passed, the higher chances of taxes just being raised on everything we do, from eating to driving your car to heating your house to watching TV, anything, period. And again, I want to bring up too, storage is a big problem. And I remember when I first started this channel, Lee Wheelbarger talked a lot about this, the power wall for these solar panels, especially ones that Elon Musk developed, didn't work. And that's all I remember him talking about was the storage issues. There's no way it's going to work. The storage is the biggest issue right now is storage and the cost of it. And again, this article surfaces 2 years after the fact that I first heard Lee Wheelbarger talking about this particular situation here. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick little break.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform, buy a t-shirt, or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.